On your stop short of pricing as the tool.
It's a critical tool.
What are your thoughts about?
Well, I think we have to. I think in terms of the pricing, I think we have to be charging much more than we do. However, I think at the same time, we need to be bringing on these other mechanisms to be able to help you reduce your use of water, so that it's sort of helping counteract. Yeah, it's sort of. Unfortunately, what happens now in municipalities is instead they say, "Oh my goodness, our people are doing too good on water conservation. I'm not making as much money out of my water system as I used to be making because they're not buying as much water as they used to. I'm going to have to raise the water prices because of that reason, not the other sort of reason you're talking about." So I think it's really important to be helping people at the same time be able to reduce their use of water.
Jack, I heard the mayor of Guelph speak last year, and they passed a resolution saying they would not build a pipeline to Lake Erie.
Right.
They were going to work within whatever law.
Yeah, they've done a wonderful job. What's great about them is that places to grow again, where it said what various municipalities how much they had to grow by. The ones Guelph was one of those places to grow. They came back to the province and said, we don't have the capacity to do that. We don't want to build a pipeline, and somehow managed to persuade them. Waterloo region, where unfortunately I live, unfortunately I like the region. But anyway, Waterloo region, there they unfortunately said, we have to revise. They had just made a new official, well, not the official plan, but the growth management strategy. They said, we have to revise all these numbers up now because the province told we have to revise them up. And I have my suspicion that the region is going to use that as a bribe against the province to say you have to pay for our pipeline up from Lake Erie, which would be very expensive because you made us take on this additional growth. They haven't said that. It's just my devious mind. But I think, yeah.
Well, Guelph used a program. They had a company called MetroQuest to make a great program to show what growth would look like and whether they would sprawl it out or concentrate it, and they chose take the option of concentrating, and that would reduce their energy costs, water use, and everything.
Right.
And I don't think Waterloo
Water doesn't touch
We're trying to get Sudbury to use smart growth as opposed to crazy growth.
Yeah. Crazy growth. Sounds like crazy growth.
Good. So when you're talking about water as not increasing water use, water takings, you want to limit the water taking to what it is now, is that correct?
I think we should say, look, we can use our water so much more efficiently, we can add so much more value out of the existing water supplies that, unless we're in some new community somewhere that, hasn't really started to tap the water. But for an established community of any sort, any additional growth of industry or residential should be handled by reducing the other current uses.
So then water is a limiting factor for growth.
I see, yeah.
So I don't know if you're familiar with Okotoks, Alberta, where Okotoks was going to develop. It's outside of Calgary or whatever it is. And when they looked at, they used water as their limiting factor, and they started developing. Like they went the other way and started decommissioning roads and that based on the carrying capacity of the watershed and the amount of water they had. So
the catch is, and in Alberta I see that happening. I also want to make sure that we don't, we've heard several times today, and the first speaker was talking about, in Ontario we're lucky we have so much water, etc., and except in some, some places. But I don't want us to be fooled by that in terms of saying, well, Alberta's dry and therefore, yes, they have to do special things. I don't want us to get fooled by that in terms of saying, well, we can just be luxurious with water.
I agree.
That's totally irresponsible.
Geez, I absolutely lost part of what I was going to say. This is...
that never happens to you.
No. Well, I have two. One's totally gone. I just really loved your presentation. Thank you very much for it. This is really, really tough sledding on the water side, and I would just share as briefly as I can on the recognition of industrial production and its use of water. And I was on the climate change team at MOE for 2.5 days until I brought up the prospect of doing something about design obsolescence in products because our factories are running at twice their rate that they have to. And I wasn't on the team anymore. So,
that's why I don't work at any of those
so,
places, but anyway.
That's, I mean, we got to keep the factories going. And and although it obviously err on climate change, the bureaucrats wanted to hear nothing about water in the climate change plan. So it's anything we can do to highlight the integration. That's just wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, we really have to push that.
And we also need to not be afraid. We get called kooks if we use the word zero. And we need to be, not hesitate to say, zero increase in use of water in the province of Ontario, total use. Because at first you get called a real, you just don't get it. Zero discharge. We had this debate endlessly in the Great Lakes. Now, industry, government, everybody uses, they ruin the word, of course, but everybody uses the term now. It's recognized as a legitimate goal we're moving towards. And unless some of us are out there pushing, saying, yes, that's where we need to be going in the direction towards it, it won't change over time. I'll give you an example. Minister Gerritsen currently has a consultation paper out called Getting to Zero Waste. When we talked about zero waste 10 years ago, we were told we were all crazy. Now the minister's putting out that that's the title of the paper. So, don't be afraid to use those. I spoke to an environmental assessment class last week as a guest lecture. And the first question, of course, came up from some planner from the city of Hamilton and said, but what do we do with those extremists who come? And I said, take them in, be pleased with them, learn from them. I'm proud to be extreme. Learn from them. That's where you'll get to places that will get you a better plan in Hamilton than you would have had if those extremists weren't coming and speaking to you. So anyway, that's my hope. Okay.
Sometimes you need a crisis to make the right decisions. But right now we have time because we do have enough water at the moment.
Exactly.
But that's the time to make decisions.
Exactly.
So you can do it without
Exactly.
a major crisis.
Exactly.
It's much better planning.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Thanks very much, John.